go back to I'm going to wrap up this series next Sunday. It's Must See TV. And if you'll throw that graphic up for me, please, Brother Ethan. And today we're going to do Little People, Big World. And so we're talking about them. For just a little bit, we're talking about them. We're talking about Jesus, but we're going to use that. I've just been doing this series called Must See TV, and as I was praying about it, I just thought some way to get you interested in it, and hopefully just stay interested in it. And so, what was the first one we did? This Is Us, right? This Is Us, and This Is Us was about what? The prodigal son, right? Because we've all been prodigal and gone off. What was the next one? Huh? No, Price is Right. The Amazing Grace, that's right. The Amazing Grace, because we're all running this race, right? Then we did The Price is Right last Sunday, right? Right. You weren't here. Matthew wasn't here. He was a sinner. And so Matthew wasn't here. And then today we're going to do Little People, Big World. I'll wrap it up next Sunday, I think. I don't know. I don't think I'll tell you the title, but I want you looking at it. But Little People, Big World today. And we're going to talk about this for just a few minutes. If you have your Bible, would you turn with me, please? Put your finger in Matthew chapter 13, verse 55. I'm sorry, John chapter 1, verse 46 first. If you have your Bible, just put your finger in it. Don't be reading it. Don't do your Bible study for the week while I'm trying to talk to you. Okay? But we're going to go there for just a minute. If you're wondering how's he going to fit this in here, just hang with me. Just hang with me. I'll get it. I promise you. How many have ever watched this show? My wife was a devoted fan to Little People, Big World. That's how I know anything about this show. And they have, and then she knows all the kids' names, who they married, why, what's his name? What's the dad's name? Matt. Why Matt got divorced from, what's her face? Amy. And I don't remember why. She knows the whole story. I don't know all the background to it, so I'm just going to give you a little bit of overview of what I know, just use him as an example for a minute. But she watched this show religiously. I don't know if she still does or not. Is it still on? It's still on. And so I don't have any clue. But this was one of her favorite shows, was Little People, Big World. And they got on my nerves, so I didn't ever watch it. And much like a lot of reality TV, it gets on my nerves because it's not really reality. Okay, we're going to put you in this situation, and this is how I want you to act. And it's going to be reality TV. Whatever. Okay. Shut up, it's real, right? It's real. Okay, that's why they show up and the camera's already in the house when they open the door. How'd the camera get in the house and see them open the door? It doesn't matter. Listen, Little People, Big World. Who are little people? Midget. Wrong. Smallest stature. We don't say the M word. Smallest stature. Someone can be small in stature and be a little person. Someone can be small in self-worth and be a little person. Billy's always saying, I'm not big like you guys. He used to be. But when Billy got hurt, it took a lot of his muscle. He atrophied a lot because he laid in the bed for a long time. And he's doing it a lot better now. But when he got hurt, and he got hit in the head and had a brain injury, now it just kind of changed his body. It changed who he is on the outside. And it kind of changed a little bit on the inside. But it changed who he is. But some people can be small in self-worth. Some can be small in perceived worth. Who are you? Are you who somebody says you are, or are you who God says you are? Who are you today? Are you a little person in a big world? Or are you somebody that God has called to do something great? So I know that I was talking to a friend of mine whose son is shorter. And he broke his wrist the other day. And he said his growth plate is still not even close to being closed. It could grow another 5 to 6 inches. And he's like, yes! His son was so excited because he's kind of short right now, and he loves basketball. He's a basketball player, and he wants to play so badly, but he's a little short right now. But he's looking forward to growing that 4 to 5, 6 inches, whatever it is. And so he's ready, man. I can see right now he's measuring himself on the wall, man. I can just see it. Just waiting for that growth spurt to hit. And so many of us right now, we sit here and we think, God's never going to use me for anything. God's never going to do anything with me. Wait for your growth spurt. Amen. Wait for you to grow. Wait for you to grow up in God. Some of you have been stuck in the same place for 20 years. You've been saved for 30, and you've been stuck in the same place for 20, and you don't ever really know if that growth spurt is going to happen. But can I share with you, there is a growth spurt going to happen, and it's not always pleasant. Do you remember growing up and having high water pants and being embarrassed to go to school? Come on now. You kind of pull them down, he'd sit, you know what I'm saying? And when you sit, you know what I'm saying? Because you grow, and the pants that you had were good, they're just too short now. Because you grew like 4 inches over the weekend. Come on, help me out now. And so you understand that, remember, that wasn't always fun. And I thank God I never had this problem because I'm not real tall. I never had this problem as having growing pains or whatever. I never had those. Never had growing pains. Adam had them. And you go, oh, my leg hurts. Oh. And I know that Abby and Olivia has had them. Because Olivia is like 6 foot tall, man. If you haven't noticed, she's like tall. Okay? And Ava's tall. She's 9 years old and she's almost as tall as my wife's shoulder. And so that's pretty tall. Maybe taller? I don't know. But anyway, she's growing and she's had growing pains where she get in the bathtub and just soak in the hot water. Anybody ever do that? Yeah. Okay, and so but growing doesn't always mean it's going to be something pleasant. Doesn't mean it's always going to be something that you're going to enjoy. Doesn't mean you're always going to enjoy growing, but growing is a part of being alive. If you're not growing, there's something wrong. Aren't you glad you're not the same size you were when you were a newborn? Somebody said amen. Amen. Talk about Matt Roloff just a minute. Matt Roloff was small in stature. He was a little person. His height was little. As you can see, he has crutches on his arms because he has to have those to walk. Because his legs he has problems with his legs because of the dwarfism that he has. If you'll notice, he has one son that's the same size as him. He has another son that's regular size. You'll notice that it doesn't matter his stature. It matters what God has planned for their lives. That's right. And so he has to use crutches to walk. And Matt Roloff was small in stature, but he had a lot of medical complications. I know that watching the show with my wife, I know they had several medical procedures done where they had to do some things to his legs to keep him from being completely crippled where he couldn't walk. He uses crutches to walk. But he has a net worth of, this is on the internet, so whatever, of $4.5 million. He built an absolutely beautiful farm in Oregon. He built anything that he wanted. And they were on this show, and now his marriage crumbled, and he had a lot of other problems. He wasn't perfect. He's not a perfect man. But he has a lot of problems physically, but his mind was sharp. And he was able to get things done that he needed to get done on that farm. And he's able to run the equipment. He's able to do everything. He figured out, even though he's short in stature, how to do what it is he needed to get done. Even though he may not look like his son, the tallest. These two guys are twins on the end. The two boys on the end are twins. One is short, one is not. One is regular size, one has dwarfism. But here, understand me for just a second. It doesn't matter what you start like, it matters how you finish. And so you're standing here, and maybe you think of yourself as small. I'm a little person, I don't have anything to offer anybody. I don't have anything to give anybody. I don't have anything to offer anything. I'm not worth anything. I can't do anything. I can't. Yes, you can. Matt Roloff had all these problems, and yet he was successful in business, successful in his life. And he has a large family. He was successful in a lot of things. What's your excuse for not doing anything? Why can you say, why are you sitting there and say, well, I can't. Nobody likes me. Nobody wants me. You feel sorry for yourself because there's something wrong. I don't know what's wrong with you. Quit feeling sorry for yourself. There's a lot of people who would trade places with you because of your health. Amen. You're able to get up and walk. You're able to breathe. You're able to do all these things. Listen, I know right now, I was talking to a guy yesterday. He has such problems breathing. And he has, well, Gillespie he can witness. He has such problems breathing that it's almost impossible for him to do anything. He said, Jeff, I remember when I could do everything. Now I can't do anything because if I walk from here to my car, I've got to stop. If I have to do anything, I can't walk. I can't do what I want to do. I used to I could do anything. Now I can't do anything at all without having to take a break. And yet we take our health and say, well, I can't do anything. God must hate me. Nobody likes me. Really? You got up this morning your eyes opened, didn't they? And maybe you didn't see real well, but you could see until you at least get your glasses on, right? Maybe you didn't see real well, but at least you didn't get up and you have to throw yourself in a wheelchair and wheel yourself around. This morning, you bathed yourself, I hope, or maybe last night, whatever. You didn't have to have somebody do it for you. That's good preaching. I don't care what anybody says. But this morning, maybe you fed yourself. You drove yourself. And you're complaining about everything. Nothing's good enough in your life. Nobody's good enough to you. Really? Really? Maybe you look in your life and you say, I'm just a little person. No, it's what you perceive yourself to be. When the children of Israel went to the promised land, they said, we are in our sight as grasshoppers. Amen. It's what they perceived themselves to be. Not what they were, but what they perceived themselves to be. And so we sit here in a church full of God's people, full of God's grace, and full of God's mercy. Full of whatever it is that you need from God. I'm a Pentecostal preacher, so I just believe that God will do whatever He says He will do. I just believe that God can do whatever. I believe it so much. I believe it. If the Bible said Jonah swallowed the whale, I believe it. Because God would make a way. I believe that Noah put a motorboat on the ark just so he could steer. I believe it. Because that's what God said. Because I just believe God will do what He says He will do. And so let me just ask you a question this morning. What is your excuse for sitting and not doing anything that God's laid on your heart because you see yourself as small in stature? Matt Roloff is small in stature. But he was willing to do what it took, and I'm sure it was very painful to do some of the things he did. I'm sure it wasn't very comfortable to learn how to run an excavator when you couldn't reach the pedals. Help me, somebody. Some of you sit here today and you have legs that work and you can reach the pedals and you can do everything, but make every excuse in the world as to why you can't do something. That preacher won't let me. That God just does not like me. I don't know. Listen, quit saying I can't.
That's right. Amen.
Yes, you can. You just simply don't want to. You don't want to. Well, you want to until it gets hard. And then when it gets hard, you don't want to anymore. His life is not perfect. Matt Roloff's life is not perfect. But it's just an example. Yeah. He didn't let all the things in his life stop him. Yeah. Right. I know everybody's not nice to you. You're not nice to everybody either. So shut it. It depends on who you're talking to, how you talk to them. Oh, that's not me, brother. Yeah. I've watched you. I've been around here a day or two. It depends on who walks through the door, how they get greeted. And it depends on who walks through the door, how they greet the greeters. They didn't even talk to me. Yeah, you didn't talk to anybody else either, so shut it.
Good preaching.
You walk around here like with a smile on your face, or you can walk around here with a look like you've been baptized in vinegar. I don't know, whatever. I don't like nobody. Great. Great. But what you give is what you get. It's a song, by the way. I'm not going to sing it, but it's a song. Because it's so easy to forget what you give is what you get. I'm not going to hear you sing it, but anyway. Can any good thing come out of Nazareth? In John chapter 1, verse 46. Philip goes to tell Nathanael they found the Christ. Philip runs to his brother and says, listen, man, we found the Christ. Well, you know, where'd you find him? Where'd you find him? Nazareth. Hold up. Can any good thing come out of Nazareth? And Philip says, just come and see. Just come and see. So Philip runs to Nathanael and says, listen, guy, I have found the Messiah. He told me everything about me. And just come and see who it is. And I love Nathanael's reaction is he said, now listen to me. Can any good thing come from Nazareth? Because I've been told all my life, none come out of that little place. Now, I could make this into about Seminole, but I'm not going to. But I guarantee you that there's nobody that's going to say, when you become a world changer, something in the world changes because God's anointed you and you're able to do it. No one's going to say, I knew somebody was going to come and change the world out of Seminole. No one's going to say that. But God can still do it in your life. You can be a world changer. You may be a little person in somebody else's eyes right now. Maybe they don't expect you to do anything in your life. Maybe they've never expected anything from you. Maybe you've always been the brother that they didn't really care about. Yeah, they took care of you and they changed your diaper and they fed you, but you were not the golden child. Maybe you weren't the daughter, you were just kind of there. And they never expected anything great from you. But now all of a sudden, God begins to anoint you. Now all of a sudden, great things start happening in your life, and just because they never really paid that much attention to you, God knew who you were the whole time. And just because maybe you didn't really realize who you were, that God realized who you were from the beginning, and the one that they thought was the golden child was just the one to make the path for you. Oh, help me somebody. Amen. Maybe the one that they thought was the princess. Maybe she just was there to serve you. Maybe she was there to help you learn how to deal with women. Learn how to deal with men because you're in the middle. And you had to learn how to deal with a brother. And you had to learn how to deal with a sister. And you had to learn how to deal with rejection. And now that you're older, now all of a sudden, now you know how to deal with men. You know how to deal with women. And you know how to deal with rejection. So it doesn't really matter what they said you were. Who is it that God says you are? Where is it that God placed you? That middle child syndrome. Olivia has it, and she's not a middle child. I don't understand. She's the third or fourth. There's not a middle there. So I don't understand, but she has it. And so here's the deal. I guess if we had, I don't know, we split a kid in half, she'd be, I don't know, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. But anyway, that middle child syndrome sometimes is this, that you need to understand that God is positioning you because He's placing you in a place that maybe nobody else can handle, but you can handle it because of where God has placed you. Oh, Jesus, help me. Now, I know that maybe someone said that you're little in stature. You'll never make it. You'll never be anything. You're never going to do anything. Okay. Maybe they made you little in self-worth. Never make it. He's not good enough. And so your self-worth is damaged. Maybe you're in what you perceive you are. Maybe you're little in your perceived worth. Maybe you're hoping that somebody will say something. Listen, I've been in church a long time in my life, and it never ceases to amaze me, all the people that want an evangelist to call them out. So some man can tell them what God said about them. I've never really understood that. I know I'm weird. I embrace that. Because there's just some things in church that are weird to me. I don't need some guy to say, or some girl to say, God's calling you out, and let me tell you what God said about me. I know what God says about me because His Word says about me. Now, it's always good to have that confirmed and makes you feel good. I get it. I mean, I understand that. I've had that where people have just read off things in my life that they have no idea who I am or anything like that. That's happened to me many times, and I understand that. But hear me just say, but I don't need that for my self-worth. Okay. I don't need that for my perceived worth. I know who it is that I am. And I'm not saying that God can't use that, so don't get all spiritual and holy on me, you Pentecostals. I don't know how some of y'all are. Okay? And so don't get all spiritual on me where Jeff said that nobody's supposed to call you out. Didn't say that, don't lie on me. What I said is this, I don't really need that. And a lot of people do need that. I never really understood that. That their self-worth is wrapped up in what some evangelist said about them. That's not who I am. Can any good thing come out of Nazareth? Philip told Nathan about Jesus. Who can come out of Nazareth? Only somebody small. Only something little. A little thing can come out of there. Nothing big can come out of there. Surely nothing big can come out of there. So if you'll throw my graphic back up there a minute. And little people in a big world, let me tell you something. This is a big old world. And you need to understand that even though you may see yourself as small, God sees you as mighty. And though you may see yourself as a small thing, God sees you as a mighty thing. And I can tell right now that some of you are more interested in what you're going to go eat for lunch than you are what I'm saying. But I'm telling you right now that you've got to understand that God sees you as greater than what you are, or you think you are. Who is this guy? Matthew 13 and 55. Matthew 13 and 55. Is not this the carpenter's son? Not the singing group, but it's not this his mother called Mary, his brother James and Joseph and Simon? And how would you like to be Jesus' brother named Judas? That would just not go over at Thanksgiving. Because Judas, not this Judas, but another Judas, betrayed him. And so, I'm going by J. I'm not going by Judas, okay? I'm going by something else. But how would you like to have Judas as Jesus' brother and show up at Thanksgiving and it's like everybody's like, oh, there's Judas. I don't know. I'm Jude. And so, anyway, so listen, who is this guy? He's the carpenter's son. Who is he? He's not anybody. We know who Jesus is. He's a little person in a big world. That's what they're saying. Who is he? Go on to verse. I didn't put the verses in there, but that's okay. If you guys don't have your Bible, go to verse 56. It talks about, don't we have we know his sisters. We know everybody. We know his family. We know everything about him. I know everything about who Jesus is, and I know his family, and I know everything about, he's Mary's son, isn't he? Isn't he Joseph and Mary's boy? We know everything. We went to school with his sisters. We know I was hitting on her the other day. Isn't that who that is? And so, Jesus they perceive him to be a little person in a great big world. They don't perceive him to be Jesus. They don't perceive him to be the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. They don't perceive him to be, listen, the same people that said, isn't this the carpenter's son? Those same people he's about to die for. Yeah. Those same people are the ones that Jesus is going to lead to the glories of God and lead into heaven. Those same people are the ones that Jesus is about to lay his life down for. The people that said, this is not anybody special. This is somebody just little. So, listen, he can't be great. He's only a little guy from Nazareth. Who is he supposed to be? So let me share something with you real fast, and I know I'm running out of time and I'm running out of your patience. Let me share something with you really fast. God himself placed something on you that he didn't place on anybody else. What's that? I don't know. Whatever it is that you are unique about. There's something special about you. God has placed something special on your life. Now, right now, I'm looking at your faces, and you say, I wish you'd just shut up and let me go eat. Let me just share something with you. Right? Let me just share this with you. There's something about you personally that God put in your DNA that's different than me. Yeah. He placed a calling on your life that you're never going to get away from. He placed something on your life that you're either a motivator or you're not. God's placed that in your life. He's done something. Who's David? Let's go. David, 1 Samuel 16 and 12. David was a ruddy youth. He was good looking, but he was too young. He's too little. He can't be anointed as king. He's too little. He's too young. Young people that are sitting on my second pew and my first pew, listen to me. Don't let anybody ever tell you you're too young to work for God, because you're not. You're not. You're able to do exactly what God has called you to do. You have to learn some things, but you have to do it with a willing heart. He was a ruddy youth. He was good looking. But he was young. And Goliath was so mad in 1 Samuel 17:43. He said, what am I, a dog? Did you send out this boy after me? What am I, a dog? And then I talked about 1 Samuel 17 about how David couldn't use Saul's armor because, it didn't fit. It wasn't his. It wasn't his. He never tried it. He couldn't fight with that. He couldn't walk his walk in somebody else's armor. We talked about that, right? But Goliath thought David was too little until a rock hit him in the head and his head was hanging. Too little, David. You can't do it. You're too little. You're too little, Jesus. You come from too little of a place. You're too little. You're not actually Joseph's son anyway. We all know. Come on now. Joseph raised you, but your mom cheated on you. We know. We know. Wrong. I don't know who told you that you couldn't do anything. I don't know who told you you weren't worth anything. I don't know who told you that you weren't special. But they are liars. They are liars, and they're trying to destroy your life. Listen, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in Daniel. I didn't write the scripture down, but in Daniel, you can look it up. They stood against the nation. They stood against the nation. I'm about to throw this thing. I thought I could reach Larry. They stood against a nation. They stood. When everybody else bowed, they stood. Now these guys were little in their stature. They were little in their calling because they were slaves. They had no rights. They had no rights. They were just slave boys that had been captured from Nebuchadnezzar's army. And they stood against the nation, and they were the smallest of the small because they had no rights at all. They were the smallest of everybody, but they changed a nation. Because if you'll read this story, not just listen to a preacher preach it, you'll read the story, here's the deal, is that they said, I will not bow, and I'm not going to bow you. If God does not even deliver me, I won't bow to you. I don't care what you do to us. We're not bowing to some idol. We're gonna serve God. And they stood against the greatest king of the world at that time. Now come on, help me just a minute. If somebody in our Sunday school class doesn't agree with us, we fold. If somebody at church makes us mad, we fold. Oh, I'm a world changer. No, you're not. You're barely a baby changer. Come on, help me just a minute. Listen. You have to understand that you can't just fold every time somebody questions your religious beliefs. Well, yeah, I agree that all the roads lead to heaven. We're just going to coexist. No. I'm not going to coexist. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if it makes you mad that I don't agree that what Buddha did for somebody is not what Jesus did for me. I'm sorry if you disagree that I don't believe that Wiccans can do what God did for me. I'm sorry if you don't agree with all the religions of the world. Don't all lead to God. Sorry. But I don't agree with that. Okay. I'm going to stand, and I'm not going to bow to that. I'm going to stand. And if God delivers me, or if He doesn't, I'm still going to stand. Because His Word says Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. Nobody comes to the Father but by Him. And unless Jesus is a liar and the Word's wrong, if that's wrong, and the rest of it's wrong, let's take the pews out and make a bar out of the place. Let's do whatever, okay? Because they got a big dance floor. Okay, so listen. Whatever. And I know that's not popular. But you know, I'm not that popular. There's like 130 people here, so we know whatever. You know? It's okay. It's okay. I'm going to be all right. But Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they stood against the nation. They changed the nation. When they were thought of as the smallest of the small, with nothing to offer. There's a whole world they changed, and Nebuchadnezzar changed the entire world. Amen. Because of those three men. And you want to read on about Daniel. Daniel changed another thing. Because Daniel refused not to pray 3 times a day. He stood. Who are you? Who are you? Who you've been told that you are. If you've been in this church at any time, a length of time at all, you've been told that you're a child of God. And any length of time at all, you've been told that God Himself loved you more than He loved Himself, so He died to be with you. Help me just a minute. You got to help me just a minute at this. If you've been in this church at any time at all, you know that God loves you more than He loved anybody else on this planet, so He died just for you. And then we all can take that and say He died just for me. I can take my finger and point it at my chest and say, God loves me. Amen. Not just you, but God loves me. If you've been here any time at all, you can understand that I am the apple of His eye. I am His chosen. I am His called. That is who I am. I am the head and I am not the tail. I am above and I am not beneath. I am glory. Listen, He gives me favor in situations when other people are just seeking luck. He gives me favor. Who are you? And more than that, who you've been told you are. You're not your money situation.
Amen.
Amen.
Come on.
You're not your paycheck. I know that's how in America we value who's greatest and who's least by the amount of money they have in the bank.
Yeah.
But not so much. Not so much. All money is an amplifier of who you are. If you're a jerk without money, you're just a bigger jerk with it.
Amen.
It fascinates me how before people have any money, they will tithe. But when they get a little bit of money, they don't tithe.
Come on.
It amazes me how when they are praying for God to work out situations in their life, and when God does it, then they quit coming to church.
Amen.
Absolutely amazes me. How do you think you got the problem resolved? Who do you think did it? You? The reason you came to church was because you couldn't get the problem resolved. Now it's resolved, so I'm out of church again. Whatever. Whatever. You're not defined by your marriage. In your marriage situation. Maybe you're divorced and you've been told that you're not worth anything because you got divorced. God hates you because you got divorced. That's a lie. Does God like divorce? No. Is God in it? No. Listen to me. That's not the unpardonable sin. We don't know people's lives. And we don't know what happened. And we don't know what happened to people's lives. And we don't have any, listen, we're not behind closed doors. We don't, that bruise you thought you saw, maybe it's a reason for that bruise that you thought you saw. Maybe there's other situations that happen that you don't know anything about. Maybe there's people in their lives that they let people hurt them in their lives for a long time, and finally they got enough strength to say, I'm not going to be treated this way any longer. You don't know what happened in people's lives, and we don't have the right to say you're going to hell because of your marriage situation. God is faithful to forgive sin. You're not your family. I was talking about a young man, my wife and I were talking about a young man yesterday. Acts nothing like the rest of his family. Because he got away from his family. The rest of his family is not horrible people or anything like that. It's just, he acts nothing like them. Because he's different, because he got away from them. It's amazing that you're not your family. Well, that's just the way we do it in Nance family. Well, you're an idiot. That's the way we do it. We're idiots. Okay. Yeah, we get those women in line. Whatever. Have you ever met now? You just have. So that's just the way we do it. We've always been poor, we're always going to be poor. That's just the way we do it. Really? Yeah. That's not who you are. You're not defined by your stature. Matt Roloff, I think the son in the green he doesn't have dwarfism either, right? None of the kids, okay. Their daughter did. And so, what's his name, Jacob? Zach, okay. So Zach is the only one out of 4 children that had dwarfism. And so Zach looks like his mom and dad. But he hasn't let that stand in his way either because he's very successful. The daughter's very successful, the son's very successful in the end. The son in the green has had a rough life. He's had a rough go of it. A lot of it are the decisions that he made. I will say all is because of the decisions he made. See, we want God to bless us. We want to make bad decisions.
Right.
And then blame God because of our situation.
Right. Good.
It's the church's fault. No, it's not the church's fault. It's the preacher's fault. Man, maybe. It's not the audacity to tell you need to make good decisions. And good things will happen to you. Well, I hate school. I don't want to graduate school. And you drop out. And then you wonder why things are rough. Now, you could do that 30, 40 years ago. But you can't do that so much now. It's decisions. Now, there's decisions that go with that too. I mean, things happen with that too. Maybe you had to go to work as a young man. I did. I didn't drop out of school, but I had to quit some things I loved. And so things happen, and we don't know what happens in people's lives. I don't know. But hear me just a second. You make decisions. Listen, you chose to hook your wagon to that star.
Right.
What do you mean by that? You chose who you married. Hello? Hello? You choose who you date. Well, she said I was going to date her, so we're dating. What? She said she loved me. Yeah, she said that to everybody else too. And you're the only sucker that believed it. He said he loved me. Oh, great. Great. So be careful who you hit your wagon to. Because if you don't get to hit your wagon to the right person, then all of a sudden you've made a bad decision. Now all of a sudden, now there's a baby involved. Now there's two. Before you know it, now there's three. I should never marry him. That's a little late for that, baby. A little late for that. Boy, got quiet. I love it when you're right because it gets quiet. Does everybody amen and it gets somebody else until it's them? Amen. Kelly needs to hear that. Amen. Oh, wait, what? How dare you? How? I'm never coming back to this church ever. Okay. Okay. We'll be all right. Listen. Okay, I'm going to stand over here. I'll do all that sneezing nonsense over there. Okay. Listen. Nobody can tell you who you are. Musicians, you come up, please. Musicians, please. No one can tell you who you are but God. Let God define you. Let God tell you who you are. No one can make you what you can be but God. There's nobody in this world that can transform your life other than God. Okay. You can do better. You can be like a center light. I quit cussing. Good. Hallelujah. Great. Fantastic. But how's your soul? I quit cussing. Yeah, but how's your soul? I quit cussing. Great. But how's your soul?
Good.
How's your heart? Hey, yeah, well, I quit going to porn sites on the internet. Great. How's your soul? How's your soul? How's your soul? Has God cleaned you? Has God delivered you? Or have you just used your own will? Because listen, we're made in the image of God and we have a strong will. How many people have ever heard somebody say, I will not die today, and they don't die? They have a will. We have a strong will. How many have ever said, listen, don't do that. I'll do what I want to. I will do what I want to.
Right.
As I will, that's what I do. I will not go to church. I will not serve God. They may not say that, but with our actions we say it. I will not do it. Choose well your decisions. What you decide to do has consequence. Are y'all listening to me? I hope so. What you choose to do, there's a consequence to it. You can choose to be mad and you can ruin everybody's life around you. Nobody can stand you. You can choose to be happy and be a blessing and let people be a blessing to you. It's up to you. It's up to you. Not everybody is going to treat you like you think you ought to be treated, princess. Prince, not everybody's going to be there for you, waiting for you to give them a kiss to wake them up. You're not going to always get what it is you want. You're not always going to get it the way you think you ought to get it because I deserve it. Whatever. But hear me just a second. You have to choose what you're going to do. You can be a little person in stature. You can be a little person in your beliefs of who you are. You can let somebody else tell you who you are, and you can be a little person in a big world. Or you can let God develop you, who you are, what you are, and what God's going to bring to your life. And all of a sudden, even though somebody sees you as small, and sees you as little, God makes you successful. And you don't sit there and think, well, I can't do anything because my legs don't work well and I have crutches. I can't learn how to do all that stuff. Yes, you can. Spiritually, you may have crutches and you may have little short legs, and spiritually you might have dwarfism. But God can fill you up, and God can transform your life, and He can grow you and help you. Stand to your feet with me, please.